Hi everyone, my name is Jen with 2 N's and I use she, her pronouns. And this is my next video about a book that I read. And so last time I talked with you about one of the Twisted Tales by Liz Braswell. Yes, Liz Braswell. And that one was about Aladdin. And so if you watched it, you'll have already heard this. But for those of you who didn't, or if you forgot, Liz Braswell does some questioning of the different Disney movies to see what would happen differently if something different happened. So she just asks questions of the story to see what could have been different if like one event would have changed. And so with Aladdin, it was, I don't remember like the specific words, but it was basically like what would have happened if Jafar would have gotten a hold of the genie first. So that was for Aladdin. And so for Ariel, that book is called Part of Your World. And the question is, what if Ariel had never defeated Ursula? So if you can remember the Disney movie, Ariel defeated Ursula. So that was the question that Liz asked this time, was what would have happened if Ariel didn't? And if you can remember kind of what I said last time about Liz, is that she asks questions and they seem to be like small questions. I mean, not really, but they can be maybe seen as small, but everything is like catastrophic that happens and somebody always dies and it's just really sad. It's like Lion King's dad dying sad. It's just, and even though I'm a big kid, big old 29, Mufasa dying is a tearjerker every time. It's friggin' rude. So that's what Liz does in her books. And so this one, like I said, is what happened if Ariel didn't defeat Ursula. And with the Disney movie, I gotta be honest, I liked Ariel growing up and I liked that movie, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. My favorite growing up was Combination. Apparently I watched the same movie over and over again, which my husband says I still do, especially with TV shows. I know what I like. So growing up, I would alternate between Lion King, like right here, and Beauty and the Beast, and Jungle Book, and Aladdin. So those are the 4 that I would really watch, which means Ariel wasn't one of those 4. So, I mean, I liked it, but it was meh. But after reading Liz's book, I looked at Ariel in a whole new light. Like kind of what I was saying last time, Liz really takes these princesses, at least for these 2 so far. I have to remember, even though I've read more, it's only my 2nd video. So out of the 2 so far, with Jasmine, who was already kind of a badass, and Ariel, who wasn't, that's not how I would describe her from the Disney movie. But in this book, she was so freaking cool. So like she, you know, because she doesn't defeat Ursula, I'm trying to think about what to say without spoiling everything, but like she doesn't defeat Ursula. Ariel does not kill Ursula, and Ariel's dad, we don't know what happened to him. We assume that he died. That's what everybody thinks, is that he's dead. Dead. Sad. And so Ariel becomes the queen of the sea. And of course, because she didn't defeat Ursula, she doesn't have her voice. So she has to learn sign language, which I think is also super friggin' cool, because they didn't have that in the movie, which I guess makes sense because it was a short amount of time. It takes a little bit longer to become fluent in a language, which ASL is, American Sign Language is. So I guess it makes sense. But in the book, she had years of not being able to speak. And so she learns sign language, and that's how she communicates. And only a few other people learn it with her, so that way they could be her voice. But what's really funny, I don't know about funny, I don't know if that's the right word, but what's cool is that Ariel learns that because Ariel can't speak and she has to sign, she really has to think through what she's going to say. And like when we met her in the Disney movie, and so when she's younger, I mean, just like a lot of us when we're younger, we're really rash and we just say stuff like without thinking. I still do that, shh, but don't tell anybody. So whereas Ariel, because she's mute, you know, she cannot speak. And when, ooh, that's a spoiler, so I won't go any farther with that. But just that's something really cool, that you get to see her really mature in her role as Queen of the Sea, and also in Chile just thinking through how she talks, because even like she says in the book about herself, and as we saw in the movie, she was really rash, a teenager making really quick decisions without necessarily thinking it through. Again, that's a super common thing. It's a whole brain development thing. We won't go into the psychology of that today and how that makes sense, but so that was cool. And I also just really appreciated that Scuttle, the little gull guy, he was there, and he's dorky, super dorky and silly, and he has like little baby gulls that are following him around. I guess that they're his grandkids, I think. And they're freaking cool. And then of course there's Flounder and the crab. I can never remember the crab's name. Oh, sweet Jesus. What is the crab's name for the crab? Sebastian. Sebastian. And Sebastian's there. And as I just thought about Sebastian, he's actually kind of, to me, he reminds me a little bit of Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast, because they're both very like they want the right thing to be done. They care about their humans, but they're still like quite snooty. You know what I mean? They're just snooty. But they got good hearts. They're just snooty. But he was there, snooty as ever. Flounder was there. He's pretty cool. Vanessa. Okay, so because Ariel didn't defeat Ursula, who is Vanessa in human form, I had to look that up because I forgot. I'm forgetting names today. It's been a while since I read this particular book. Also, it's Monday. Mondays are rough. So Vanessa, human form of Ursula, she's running the kingdom as Eric's lady, but Eric doesn't, like, Ursula did her little voodoo, her little witch stuff, and messed with the memories of a lot of people in the kingdom, so he doesn't remember Ariel. Like, there's like a part of him who's like, ooh, there's this chick, so he like goes to the beach a lot, but he doesn't like remember. So that was pretty interesting because we got to see Vanessa, and then you get to learn some of Ursula's backstory, which unfortunately humanizes her a little bit, and I was like, okay, I kind of get why you're such a twat, but you're still kind of an evil twat, so maybe we just shouldn't, like, you just shouldn't be in power because you're kind of an evil twat. So that was cool, being able to learn some of her backstory, and then also too, because we're seeing Eric and Vanessa, like, their thing in the castle, we get to learn a lot more about life was like in the kingdom and Eric's kingdom for his people. So that was also pretty cool. So it gives you like a whole different spin. It's not so much of the focus on the underworld, I guess, not the underworld, under the sea. But I guess even like the Disney movie, we didn't really see too much of that. It was just kind of like Ariel wandering around on her two little feet. But also, Ariel, when she becomes Queen of the Sea, she learns that she has the magic to give herself legs. So then after a while, she was like, why didn't my dad do this for me? So there's that kind of whole dialogue and like internal thinking about like being irritated with her dad for not doing that. And then so, but again too, because Ariel's maturing and growing up, she's realizing different things, and so kind of figuring out why he may not have done that. So that's why she's able to go up on land. But it was really cool because we got to see a different part. We got to see Ariel grown up. We got to learn more about Eric's kingdom. We got to learn more about Vanessa / Ursula. And then we got to see some of the side characters, you know, after a few years. So a little bit more grown-ups, like Flounder's all mature, which is sad because he grew up, but he's still like, you know, Flounder. And it's still cool. So I liked it. I thought that it was pretty decent. I did give it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not remembering like any big things that I like didn't like about it. Like nothing from my mind stands out as like, oh God, I hated this part of the story. I think it was just kind of like, I thought it was good. It was a mess story, pretty decent. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Part of Your World by Liz Braswell. So I hope that my ramblings make sense. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments to see if you have anything to say. If you totally disagree with me about something, let me know. We can talk about books. And I also post pictures of books every once in a while on my good old Instagram account. And that's if you want to look at it. And you totally can. It's read, period, with period 2 as the number, and then N and Jen, J-E-N-N. Read with 2 and Jen. So that's where you can find me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you next time when I'm going to be talking about another Twisted Tale that I read. So I'm going to be going through all the Twisted Tales one by one. And my favorite one, this is a little, the hell are those things called? Not foreshadowing, spoiler. And this is a little spoiler. One of the ones that was my favorite was a movie that I didn't enjoy as a kid. So I was pretty surprised when I read it how much I liked it, but it was my favorite, even more than Beauty and the Beast. But shh, don't, it's very shocking. Anyways, I won't say too much because that'll be spoiling, but yeah, so that's what I'll also be talking about for a while, and I hope that you'll be here next time to see my next video about Twisted Tales and other books. So that's that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.